Welcome back, everybody, to the Digital Den. I'm so glad you came back to kind of view our channel. And today we're joined by, I'd say, some of the biggest teachers and one of our biggest educational pathways in the school. We're joined today by Miss Hamilton and Mr. Dunaway. So just to kind of start, I just want to kind of let you guys introduce yourselves. Just a simple kind of introduction, what you do, what you're about, what classes you teach.
Okay. My name is Darilyn Hamilton. I'm actually a graduate of Spencer County High School. I started Spencer County from a preschooler. Then once I graduated high school, I went off to UK. I got a degree in agriculture education, and I spent a little time in early childhood education. And then I was actually trying to get my master's in early childhood education, and I got the call from Blaine Barrett saying that he needed an ag teacher. So I made the decision to apply for the ag teaching job here, and I have been here this is my 6th year teaching as an ag teacher and as one of the FFA advisors with Mr. Dunaway, and then we added Miss Eads on last year. I teach floral design, which I get a lot of diverse students because it is considered an art credit. So that's the one class, if you don't start off in the ag pathway, you can take floral. So that's kind of cool. I get some kids that decide they do want to be in the ag pathway after they take floral. I also teach food science, which is not offered this year. And I have a new course this year that can count as a math credit for seniors, which is ag employability, which is learning about how to run a business, particularly an ag business. And then, what's my class? Oh, I'm teaching ag communications this year, which is like a leadership communications class that specializes in agriculture, and it has majority of our officers and chairmen in that class. A little bit of, I guess, unfun facts about myself. I raise beef cattle and sheep with my family. My husband, Matt, is the sheep manager at the University of Kentucky, so he runs about 600 sheep a day. And then we have a 19-month-old daughter, I almost said she was 18, she's getting big, named Vivian, and we also have 2 pups that we also consider our kids, but that is a little bit unfun facts about me.
I'm Mr. Dunaway. I teach, this is my 9th year teaching here at Spencer County High School. I'm originally from Oldham County, did my undergrad in ag education at EKU. I met my wife there, and she teaches now at she's a school counselor at the middle school. She's been in the district with me since I started. She's originally from Eastern Kentucky, so she's a little further away from home than I am. But we love it here. We've decided to, or we've began raising our 2 children here. We have a 12-year-old DJ and a 2-year-old Owen, and we love it in Spencer County. Although I'm not so far away from home and it's not too unfamiliar for me, I think my wife feels just as home as what I do, and we have enjoyed our time here. The pathways that I teach are the Ag Power pathway, which includes ag welding and ag construction skills, and we do a little bit of small engines in there as well. And then I also do the part of the horticulture pathway. I teach the greenhouse classes. We have 2 sections of that, and then the freshman, the intro to agriculture class, I have one of those, one section of that. So that's just a little bit about what I teach and my family. And I'm happy to be here. I always tell a little story to kids in my intro class that this really is my dream job. I can remember driving through Spencer County when we were in college, and this is not just a place that you kind of pass through, but I remember driving through and passing by the high school and telling my wife I'd love to teach there one day. And lo and behold, I had a kind of a connection. My ag teacher was Blaine Baird's college roommate, and my ag teacher was from Spencer County originally. So when this position came open and Blaine was retiring, I came and rubbed elbows at the banquet and got an interview and ended up getting a job, which I thought would never happen, but the rest was history, I guess.
So as you can hear from all of the classes you guys teach, FFA and agriculture is a really wide variety and diverse kind of field of study. So just kind of explain, I know a lot of people kind of just think of FFA as just kind of farming or ground level, looking into FFA, but us as FFA members, I'm actually part of the FFA program at this school. I'm one of the officers this year. I'm proud to be one of the 3 vice presidents in the chapter. So I just kind of want you guys to dive into what FFA really is, and kind of like to someone looking in from the outside, not knowing and only knowing basic level FFA knowledge. What could you kind of let them know about like what FFA is?
So FFA is the co-curricular organization that goes along with agriculture education. In agriculture education, we follow what we call the 3-circle model. We start with classroom instructions, classroom and laboratory. So we take what we learn in the classroom laboratory and we apply it to the other parts of the 3-circle model, which are FFA and supervised ag experience. FFA is kind of where we put the knowledge to use via competitions and going to conventions, and things like that. And then the supervised ag experience asset is where we have our students apply their skills through some type of experience outside of school, like a job, or some of them even have a small business. Some of them get into where they have a pretty decent sized business, and it turns into what's going to be their careers in entrepreneurship one day. So I think that's the best explanation. But FFA itself is the co-curricular organization that goes along with what we do. Anything that they do FFA-wise, that our students do FFA-wise, comes from and is a part of what we're doing in class. So if they're on the nursery and landscape team, if they're on the meats judging team, that's giving them an opportunity to apply the skills that they're learning in class. And there's regional competitions, and there's state competitions, and there's national competitions. So we're pretty busy with FFA things all throughout the year.
Would you like to add anything else?
The main thing's the 3-circle model. That's how I always explain agriculture education and FFA. It just really takes those leadership and career components to it to get students familiarized. And the FFA, you think of agriculture and the ag career because it's an ag class, but we have several students who have graduated that have taken what they have done in FFA and applied it to their careers as doctors and lawyers and pharmacists and teachers not in ag education. Like we've started the Ag Ed SAE, where even though they are teaching agriculture, a lot of those students, we have about 35 this year, that are going to elementary school teachers' classrooms and volunteering, and that's what they want to do.
We're always working to make sure our kids know, like when they're coming into ag, that they don't have to be interested in being a farmer or even being a veterinarian or something that's a job that's really closely related to the agriculture industry. We teach a lot of leadership skills, and we just use agriculture as a mode to do it.
And you guys mentioned, like you said, the competitions, like the regionals and the nationals. And recently there was the state fair, and I know that's a big thing for our FFA chapter. Could you kind of explain the outcomes of what came out of the many competitions we competed? Because I'm pretty sure, didn't we have 6 teams go to the state fair this year? And I'm pretty sure we had a pretty good turnout. So you guys want to kind of share the turnout we had?
We had meat judging, dairy judging, nursery, and floriculture all win their state contest at state fair. We've been pretty fortunate in the past few years that we're kind of known as those are our contests, that we're the teams that prepare a lot for those contests, and we put in the time over the summer doing that. Especially if you drive by the school, our cars might not be in the parking lot, and if they're not in the parking lot during the summer, it's because we're out IDing with the kids. So like for the meat judging team, we go to grocery stores. Boone's Butcher Shop, shout out to Boone's, they're a huge supporter of us. We just sit in front of the meat cases and we ID cuts of meat. And that's what we do with the students. A lot of them are about to go and judge carcasses and different things like that. So we put in a lot of time during the summer preparing, and we were very fortunate at the state fair this year that those 4 teams came out. Livestock judging and agronomy also competed, and they also worked very, very hard. There are other schools out there that take those contests very, very seriously, and those are the schools to beat. But they also did very, very well. I'm going to kind of throw in a plug in here for Jackson Barrett too, but this past year at state convention, we've been very fortunate. The past 3 years at state convention, we've all had a past former student that was elected into a state office position where they've been able to serve on a state level for a year and be on the state officer team. Kelly Barrett, Jackson Barrett, and Casey Montgomery.
We also had we had a team that competed at state convention that won as well, for the farm business management team. That would be another team that went to nationals, but it happened to be a team that was made up of kids who mostly were on another team, so we gave that one up, and they're going to be competing in that other contest. So sometimes you just have to do that because you can only do one team at nationals. But
And do you guys just want to? I know I was on two of the teams that went to the national contest, and it is a lot of hard work that goes into it. So, do you guys just kind of want to explain like the process and like how much time truly goes into practicing and perfecting these competitions that you guys compete in?
well, compared to other states in FFA, we have less time to prepare for those national contests than just about anybody. I think of like North Carolina as a big competitor in the nursery landscape and the floriculture contest, and their state convention is where they qualify for those contests, and it's in April. So they have from April to October to prepare, and we have from the middle of August to October to prepare. So we're doing a lot of cramming in that short period of time, and it does take a lot of time. I mean, I've added up the hours that our kids spend when I'm talking about them at banquet, and sometimes it's over 100 hours that each of those individual kids have put in throughout the summer preparing for the state contest, and then most of the preparation, like right now, the kids on my two teams they have a binder that's like 4 inches thick and it's full of tests, and they're just going through those tests and learning math and just kind of preparing like you would prepare for like an academic team meet, kind of just drilling that knowledge in your head. And then we spend the majority of fall break preparing for those contests as well. Thomas, you know as well as anybody, if you sign up to be on one of those teams, you're making a commitment to spend some time during fall break because it's right before national convention. That's a great time just to focus and get some of those skills honed in on, because those contests are like a whole day worth of skills challenges and things like that. So there's a lot to prepare for, and it takes time to do that. So like I said, our kids put in so much time. We just open the door for them and give them the resources, and they kind of have to take it from there. And that's why they're successful. There's no tricks. There's no, we don't do anything a whole lot different than anybody else. We just put a lot of time in.
I agree.
Yep. And I know with the fall break, it's kind of tough with going on vacations. I know I've talked to a couple of your meets team competitors that they're going on vacation, and they'll be taking 4-inch, 5-inch thick binders with them to study while they're on vacation. So that just kind of goes to show the dedication and the time that these students put into this FFA program. And I know some of the students that compete in these competitions are officers, but also some aren't. And I just kind of want to dive into the officer side of things. How do you guys feel about this upcoming year and how these officers that were newly elected last year are going to deal with the new school year and just the events that they kind of have to uphold to?
So this is the first time ever that Dunaway has taught, I've taught, or I can remember going through FFA. Our officer applications this year, we actually had to make cuts for interviews. We had 25 students apply to be an FFA officer this year. And we can't take all of them, unfortunately. So Mr. Dunaway and I talked, and we decided that we could take 18. So we interviewed 18 students to apply to be an officer, and we kind of wiggled around and created officer positions. My husband says Spencer County is probably the only school that would do that for any FFA chapter. He jokes with us. He was in FFA growing up. It's how we met. So it's kind of a little rivalry joke, even though he supports Spencer County FFA now. But we do have 18 officers this year. Another funny thing about that is you can only take 15 to FFA camp with you. But we're very fortunate. We have really good kids, and 3 of those good kids were at GSB this summer. So we were able to take the 15 that could go with us. And we have really sat down and reflected on how officers teams work, how they haven't worked in the past. And I think we have a pretty good system set up this year on how we have things organized, the officer responsibilities, the duties with the vice presidents. Our 3 vice presidents are in charge of a different committee structure. Underneath each of those committee structures, they're personally in charge of 10 to 12 other students that have applied to be chairman this year, and their role in that looks. And then they go back and they plan events. So there's 2 events that are coming up. One has already happened, was the breakfast tailgate. It was kind of an event where it's for the senior and junior members that could drive. They just got together one morning. We pulled outside my door. We had cereal, sausage biscuits, donuts, everything like that, and they just got to tailgate breakfast together before school started, when school started back that one morning, and that came from FFA camp. And then one chairman group is planning a homecoming FFA tailgate. They've got bands that are coming in the mail that are black because it's a blackout game that says FFA loves the Bears. And they're planning to invite any student that's enrolled in an ag class to come out to the homecoming game that night, and there will be a tailgate for them that they can do. And then there's a lot of other stuff that are rolling, like Thomas's committee is focusing on a personal growth and a healthy lifestyle thing. So under the different committee structures, there's different division points that you have to meet. So that's what they're in charge under. And the vice presidents have done a tremendous job at this point, getting things rolling and getting started. And that's another competition that we can compete in the spring. And it's called our Program of Activities, where we turn in, like, these are the events that our chapter conducted. These are how the students plan, what were the SMART goes with it, the reflection piece, how did this help impact students inside of the ag program this year. And I think probably this has been the best, smoothest start to an officer team that we have had in the 6 years I've been here. And camp this year was wonderful, getting things planned. And our executive retreat, we had 40 kids come in July to kick off before school even started, with the officers, the chairman, to get things rolling.
We've been working hard the last couple of years to enhance the programming side of what we do. It's been a pretty long-standing tradition that our kids have worked hard and done well in contests and things like that. But the programming side of it, and making sure that all of our members have something to be involved in, events to go to and things like that. Ms. Hamilton kind of handles the committee side of things, and I kind of handle the logistical side of things, and I'll make sure a bus is where it needs to be, and we've got hotel rooms when we get places, and things are paid for. So that's kind of like how we've settled in, and Ms. Eads does a good job of supporting both of those things and helping us out with committees, and she's doing some of her own things as well at the middle school. So we're trying to just, it seems like from COVID time to now, we've been working hard to improve things across the board. Keep doing the things we were doing right before, and polish up the things that we needed to polish up.
I always tell students, I'm sure you've heard this before, if you're green, you're growing. If you're ripe, you're rotten. So there's always something to improve upon. And we've really had to look at that over these past few years on how we can improve about that. One thing I am excited about is that we're planning, I'm calling it a mini gala to the students, but that's what the AgCom class is planning. We have officially booked our venue, so I guess I can say that. The Travises are letting us have it at their place on March 28th. So that is the big event for that. Is we're going to be raising funds for the Washington Leadership Conference, which is a national FFA event. It's called WLC in the FFA word, but it's just leadership experience and getting students with other members from different states, and they plan a service activity there that they can come back and conduct in their own community. So there's WLC trained leaders and national officers are there. So I'm really, Mr. Dunaway has went once before, but I'm going to take up to 10 kids this year and let them experience that program and see how all that works.
And you guys mentioned like Miss Eads and Mr. Baird. So do you guys just kind of want to highlight, like, they're kind of like newer, and then also Mr. Baird is also retired, but he's still pretty active in FFA and probably always will be. Do you guys kind of just want to highlight like what Miss Eads and what Mr. Baird do for the FFA chapter?
So Ms. Eads started, this is her second year with us. She has piloted our middle school program. So she's there 2 class periods a day and teaches an exploratory class for 7th grade. And new this year, she teaches a class that they get credit for, an agri-science credit for 8th graders. So that's been a really cool opportunity to see. Last year when we saw that first Spencer County Middle School FFA jacket, that was a neat thing to experience, and made me excited for what's coming in the future. But she also teaches 4 classes here. I meant to mention this earlier when we were talking about our pathways that we cover, but she has the majority of the animal science pathway. So she teaches vet science and animal science. Those are also dual credit classes through Murray State, which is a good opportunity for our kids. And then she teaches 2 freshman classes. And Mr. Baird, he retired as a full-time teacher 9 years ago when I started, and then up until last year taught half-time taught a few classes and coached some teams for us. And then year before last, at the end of the year, retired full time and is now just supporting us by helping us coach teams. And the farm toy show that we do in December is kind of still his baby, and he does a lot for us still kind of behind the scenes, and we appreciate him for that as well.
Yes, they are both greatly, they impact our chapter greatly with what they do.
And you mentioned like the middle school chapter, Ms. Eads is kind of leading, and just kind of looking at that in the freshman class and just overall, like how many officer applications and how many juniors there were and like sophomores that might be willing to be chairman. What are you guys excited for the future, and do you think the future is looking bright for our chapter, and can you keep, like you said, this year has gone so smooth and it just keeps getting better and better. Do you think it's going to be able to keep getting better and better with these underclassmen?
I'm hopeful that it is. There's good things that seem to be coming down the pike with the middle school program. We're kind of watching that and seeing how it's going to affect, some we've seen schools before in other counties that have jumped headfirst into the middle school thing, and then they start to see that kind of be a detriment to their chapter. Not a detriment, but we'll kind of like, you'll have kids who, if they take ag in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, by the time they get to their freshman year, they're kind of tired of it. So we're kind of being careful and going through that with some caution. But right now it seems to be like it's a good thing, and our kids are coming to us from the middle school. And the first year that this has happened, our freshmen this year seem to be excited about FFA and not burn out yet. So that's a good sign. But yeah, I think the future is bright. We have a good class of freshmen this year who seem pretty excited about what we're doing. We still have a lot of opportunities to present to them. So I always gauge who orders jackets their freshman year. That's kind of the meter for what that class is going to be like. And there's a lot of interest in jackets. We just handed those order forms out this week, but I handed a bunch out. So when we order a lot of jackets, that's a good sign for the class that we have coming in.
I don't have freshmen this year. This is the first year I don't have freshmen. Bittersweet, I'll say. But I can contest that over the years, especially with floral, where I get kids that take floral that I've never taken an ag class. If you can get them in an ag class, you can get them hooked. And I have a lot of students who have taken floral and like are now in greenhouse with Mr. Dunaway. Or we're having juniors and seniors that are having to take back an intro to ag that are with me this year with a specialized course for that. So I do believe if we can get them introduced, they know what it is, what we do, we can get them hooked a lot quicker.
So I know you mentioned like your mini gala and just the homecoming tailgates, but are there any other big events that you're really excited for and that like could help fundraise or get our FFA chapter into the community?
There's a lot of cool things that they're doing. I know I can't remember what committee structure it is or who's on it. I know Jarrett Stewart's the one planning it now. But one committee came up with doing a drive, but they were going to put flyers out in like certain subdivisions, like in mailboxes. And the first one they're doing is a coat drive. So instead of like having to bring it there, we're just going to create a little flyer that says like, you have a spare coat you want to donate. This is the day FFA will come by. Just leave it out on your porch. We'll grab it and pick it up. Just like little drives like that that we're doing to kind of enhance the community. The community garden, Ella Thompson and Callie Desrusco and Genesis Bowling, since school has started, they have really taken off at that. Ella Thompson, I don't know how much time she spent on that garden this summer, but it has become her love. We're about to get fall crops in the ground. My husband's actually picking them up from the castle today, and they're going to be planted tomorrow in that community garden. Anyone can come pick produce from it. We have donated a lot to the culinary program so far. So like before we started planting it, I had them go down and talk with Miss Roberts, like, can you use this if we plant it, if we have excess stuff like that. That's a really awesome thing, and it's actually the Andy Butler Memorial Garden that we have turned into the community garden. We have the Farm Toy Show, of course, that will be in December that we have every year. Chili for Charity. A lot of committee structures have a lot of cool things planned. And I'm excited to see how that all turns out this year.
And you mentioned like the drives and the Chili for Charity. And all of these things are very community based. So I want you guys to kind of dive into like how FFA is so impacted by the community and how important the community is. Because I know there's a committee structure that focuses on the community. And so just kind of like explain how FFA is not just part of the school, but also dives into Spencer County as a whole.
The chapter has rich history in the community to begin with, just because when was our FFA has been a thing since 1928, I think. Spencer County FFA 1933, right? Yeah, so Spencer County FFA has been a thing since 1933, and so we have a rich history in the community already, but kind of the goal of what we're doing is to not only let the community stand by and see what we're doing and look at us from afar and be excited about what we're doing, but to involve the community in things like the Andy Butler Memorial Community Garden and giving the community an opportunity to be a part of that and giving them the opportunity to participate in those drives. So our goal kind of moving forward is to involve the community more, where they can be a part of what we're doing instead of just seeing that we won this contest on Facebook or we went this cool place or had this cool experience. We want those things for our members and for our students, but we also want our community to be a part of it as well so that we can enrich the community just as much as we are our students.
I just recently started back to Murray State in an agriculture specialist degree. And one of the classes I'm enrolled in is actually called Stewardship in Agriculture Education, because stewardship and service learning it's just a part of agriculture education. Like ag teachers, that's one of the things we try to do is instill in our members to be good stewards of the community. And that's found in the motto, it's found in the FFA creed. So they're introduced to that at a very basic start, I guess, in their ag career, and intro to ag of this is service, and as agriculturalists, we are expected to serve others.
And you can see on Instagram and on Facebook, as you mentioned, posting just as the community sees, you can see all the amazing things FFA does throughout the whole school year. There's an officer position that's dedicated to running those social media accounts, and just looking through those accounts, you can see all the amazing things that FFA does. Like recently, I know you guys talked about like the members of the month and the officer of the month, and just kind of highlighting the students that are in FFA. And that's one of the amazing things I think is so great about this program is they serve for the students. These teachers have been, my personal experience, they always are willing to put in 100% of their time for the students, and especially for competitions and just making sure we have the best program possible. So I really encourage, if you don't know much about FFA or want to learn more, get in contact with Mr. Dunaway and Ms. Hamilton. They're always wanting to talk about FFA. I know that it's like their full-time job, but they are really passionate about it. So is there anything else you guys would like to speak to the audience about FFA as a whole?
We appreciate the community support that we have. We haven't really talked about the greenhouse, but just my little plug about the greenhouse. We have two 30 by 70 greenhouses that we open up to the community, and the reason I'm talking about this is not to give a plug for the greenhouse, but to talk about how good that the community is to us. Is each spring we open those greenhouses up to the community to purchase plants, and the last several years, it's become a thing that on the first day of sales, we'll have a line from the greenhouse, and if you know the area back there, we'll have a line from the greenhouse entrance all the way around to where I can't see the end of the people, the end of the line where they're on foot standing waiting to come in. So that's just a testament of what our community does for us. You know, they know that supports our students. That's how we pay for the things that our kids get to do. So we really appreciate that. That they take that opportunity to shop and get their things through us and participate in our fundraisers before they go and purchase their stuff at Lowe's or Walmart or somewhere else like that. So the community support that we have is just second to none. I can't imagine doing this job anywhere else and expecting any more from the people around us.
Yes, a big thank you to the community. A big thank you to Mr. Phillips and our administration and Dr. Foster. Even Dr. Foster stepping in, he told us that he supported us and to please let us know anything he needs. And the support is what makes our jobs easy. They support us and we get to do what we do. The community administration, Mr. Howie for having us on today, you all interviewing us, so thank you.
Of course. All right, well, I think that's about going to wrap it up for this FFA segment. I'm sure you're already on YouTube, as Cam usually says, so we'd like you to go check out our Instagram at digitaldin.schs, and we really appreciate you guys tuning in. Thank you, and see you next time.